Quick Save Club.
Hey now everybody, Barry Myers here, and welcome to the Quick Save Club. What is the Quick Save Club? Well, the Quick Save Club is a PC-focused spin-off of the Cartridge Club where, for a period of time, we choose a retro, classic, or indie PC game to play. During this period of time, we discuss our experiences as we play the game we chose with the Quick Save Club community on Discord and in the forums located at www.cartridgeclub.org. For the month of March 2020, we are playing Duke Nukem 3D, which will also wrap up our very first season of the Quick Save Club. If any of this sounds like fun to you, hit us up on Twitter or Discord at bit.ly/QuickSaveDiscord and join in. Or just hit us up on Twitter or something, because we'll get you that link. Coming up towards the end of this recording, we will have a major program change that you're going to want to stick around for. And if you are a longtime member of the Quick Save Club, and if you've heard this intro a few times, you probably picked up on what that major announcement will be. A reminder to check out our sister podcasts and their games of the month for March. For CC Prime, they will be playing Ori and the Blind Forest. CC Portable will be playing LCD games. And RF Generation will be playing Fable 2. For the month of February 2020, we played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, a mostly first-person game, but also third-person as well, action RPG, title developed by Troika Games and published by Activision in 2004. And of this recording, it is still an exclusive to the almighty PC. For this episode, all three hosts are present, myself, Josh, and Ryan, and this month we are joined by Pam from the Cannot Be Tamed YouTube channel. Pam is a big supporter of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and her video review of the game on her channel is extremely popular, reaching over 200,000 views in 16 months. So needless to say, we are very happy to have her on board to talk about the game. Okay, that's enough of an intro. Now, let's get to the fun facts for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I hope you don't mind. I was kind of lazy with the fun facts, but really, honestly, I went to the Wikipedia page and I read the first paragraph of it, and it all made sense to me. This is all the fun facts right here. The interesting part of this game, or part of the interesting part of this game, is the development and what happened during the development. So I will just start us off with the first fun fact. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is based on White Wolf's role-playing tabletop game. It follows a human who is killed and revived as a fledgling vampire. The game depicts the fledgling's journey through the early 21st century Los Angeles to uncover the truth behind a recently discovered relic that heralds the end of all vampires. Okay, you're intrigued. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, Pam, would you like to give us our second fun fact?
Sure. Developer Troika's 32-member team began work on Bloodlines in November 2001 as an indirect sequel to the previous year's Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. Troika used Valve's Source engine, then in development, which was being used for Valve's own Half-Life 2.
Don't be cussing while Pam's giving fun facts, Josh. Settle down.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
It switched audio on me.
It's okay. You're all good. Everything's good. He's really putting the frantic in his name right now.
Yes, he is living up to his name. You want me to hit the next one?
No, I want to ask, has anyone played the Redemption? Vampire the Masquerade Redemption?
No.
I've started it, but I didn't get very far. I keep meaning to.
I just messed around with it a little bit. The mechanics are completely different than this game, so.
What? How much so? Like.
It's like early PC, if that makes sense. Like, I think you move around with the mouse, and I don't know. It was just weird. It was a little different. It wasn't as refined as this game.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, now you can give us the next fun fact.
Oh, okay. No, I was actually doing a search for that.
No, don't
because
search
okay. I'm not gonna. The game's production was turbulent as the design's scope exceeded the available resources, and the team was left without a producer for nearly a year until Activision appointed David Mullich. Is that right?
Sounds right.
Okay, to the role where he found designs and levels unfinished or abandoned. After 3 years in development with no end in sight and running over budget, Activision set a strict deadline for completion, and Bloodlines was released incomplete on November 16th, 2004, the same day as Half-Life 2. You had same day in capital letters.
I did.
Levers.
Well, I wanted you to emphasize same day, and you did it beautifully.
Yes. Same
You
day as
nailed
Half-Life.
it, as the kids say.
Yep, nailed it.
I guess we should mention that this game was kind of handcuffed a bit, too, because they used the Valve's Half-Life 2 source engine, which nobody else was using except for Valve for Half-Life 2, and they didn't want this team to step ahead of them. Like they kept keeping them back because they wanted to be the first game with this new engine. They wanted to, I don't know, be the developer that showcased it. So they would constantly handcuff these guys to slow them down a little bit.
It seems kind of weird, like it all, because they had to probably learn the engine first as well, because obviously it was a new engine at the time. So it kind of baffles me why they didn't go with something that was a little more prevalent at the time, like the Unreal Engine or something like that, or the Quake engine or something. But it's kind of, I'd like to know, like, why they decided to go with the source engine. Just because it was the new hotness, or was it, was it on the cheap? I don't know. It's kind of baffling to me, like, that they were developing along the same time as Half-Life 2 using the same engine. It just, I don't know. I feel like they could have, it's almost like they kind of handicapped themselves in that sense. And I'm not sure if it was meant to be that way, but like I said, when they had, the Unreal Engine was out there, they had, I think the Quake engine was out there at the time. There were other engines they probably could have worked with, but it just, I wonder why they chose that,
Don't know. But you think it would be beneficial to Valve because you have another developer working on the same engine, and you could kind of bounce ideas, and they're trying things, you're trying things, and you're still trying to figure things out. So you think it would be beneficial to both of them instead of trying to be in competition with each other.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Next fun fact.
No swearing this time.
I know. I'm so sorry, guys. Very unprofessional.
All right.
Today. The game's production was turbulent. This is the right one, isn't it?
No,
Yes.
no, that was the one I just did.
Yeah, okay. My bad. My Bloodlines sold fewer than 80,000 copies during its initial release, which was considered a poor performance. It divided critics at the time, although they praised the game's writing and scale of choice, besides its technical flaws. It was Troika's game's last production before its failure in early 2005, when it was unable to secure additional projects.
Bummer.
Yeah. Well,
opening on the same day or launching on the same day as Half-Life 2 would definitely hamper your sales.
Yeah.
It definitely turned, and it's kind of cool that all these years later it became that cult classic. And of course, we're going to talk about how there's patches out here that help fix a lot of things and even put stuff in that was initially left on the cutting room floor. But, again, I don't know why they chose to go up against Half-Life 2. Seems like, again, like you're handicapping yourself. But they didn't choose the date. Someone else did. So that's always kind of a bummer as well.
Okay, last fun fact. The game was a cult... let me do that again. The game has a cult following as a rarely replicated example of gameplay and narrative. And contemporary... Why did I give myself this one? My goodness. And contemporary reception recognizes it as a flawed masterpiece. Since its original release, Bloodlines has received post-release support from fans, supplying unofficial fixes and re-adding unused content, like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
A sequel, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, is scheduled for release in 2020. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, story time. This is my first time playing the game. I had never played it before. I've heard good things about it. I had watched Pam's review of it like almost a year and a half ago, and I've been really wanting to get to it, so I was happy that this made it for Game of the Month so we could experience it for the first time. So I have no memories or anything like that. Anyone else have any memories? When was this? Was this your first time, Josh? I think this was all our first time of the quick save, guys.
Yeah, it's my first time playing it. I had dabbled in it like way back in the day, but I had a really terrible PC and I didn't get far or anything, so it wasn't like really worth noting or anything.
Yeah, okay, well, first, there's no such thing as a terrible PC. Only terrible PC owners, okay?
Yes.
So
it was like an old like Dell. It didn't really have any.
It had its moment in the sun, and it was just past its prime. That's all.
There are children out there that would have loved that Dell, that had no Dell at all.
True.
And you're sitting here complaining about it.
I wasn't complaining. I was just saying it couldn't run that game. So,
Ryan, this was your first time playing it?
Well, yeah, it was on my radar for a long time. Like I said, I've seen tons of reviews, like you referenced, Pam. I think LGR did some, and a couple other ones. Every one of them just glowing praise for it, And it was always on my radar. I think I owned it before it was announced for Game of the Month, so I already bought it from GOG during probably one of the winter sales. I just never got into it. For some reason, it kind of intimidated me. I don't know why. I never jumped into it, and then, like I said, because of the Game of the Month, I dove into it head first and enjoyed the heck out of it. But,
Oh, spoiler alert! Spoiler. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. It's all good.
Cut that out.
Pam, when was your first time playing this game? Were you a day one adopter, or did you come to it later?
It wasn't day one, but it was pretty close. It was probably a year or two after it first came out. I've actually been racking my brain trying to figure out what exactly brought me to the game, if I just saw it in the store or if someone told me about it. And I can't remember for the life of me, but I got it and it soon became one of my favorite games, even before I knew about the patches.
Okay. So you played it, when you played it the first time, were the patches even out, or?
I don't think so. They might have had earlier versions, but I didn't know about them yet. So.
Okay. Because there was an official patch after the game came out, and then the rest have been modders who have gone in and added extra content and fixed other things. Correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay. Well, what does the patch fix? Do we even know? Did anyone look this up?
No, I never looked it up. I was told to install it, and so I did.
I know it does widescreen support for one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they said they added that tutorial with Jack at the beginning.
Oh,
right?
really? That wasn't in the original game?
That was in the original? Okay.
Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure that's part of the patch. I don't know. I'm 90% sure that was part of it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that has all Dom DiMaggio, all those all that audio there. So that must have been, that was on the cutting room floor. That's crazy.
All I could think of was Bender when I was going through that. He's just, all I was thinking was Bender. I'm getting taught how to be a vampire by Bender.
He has a very similar voice every time he records different characters.
He sounded a lot like the guy from Gears of War. What's his face?
I don't
Marcus
know.
Phoenix. I got it.
Yeah. Oh, Marcus Phoenix. Okay.
Marcus Phoenix. There we go. We know our video games sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. We know it when we know it. Okay.
Yeah.
So was that the extra mission or whatever? Was just that intro, or was there anything else that anyone?
I think there were some side missions. I don't know what ones they were though.
The pawn shop guy. What's his name? Chip or?
Yeah.
The pawn shop. You can talk to him and get a mission to go into the blood bank and steal drugs for him.
Okay.
I think that was an extra mission.
Okay.
I didn't get that one for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe not.
I think it's just a specific dialogue tree you had to go down to get it.
I did notice that there were certain, their wiki, for missions, because sometimes I'd look up a mission. Yes, I know. I looked up missions sometimes.
Oh, my God.
I know.
We're kicking you off this call right now.
Yeah, kicking me off. How dare
you?
But no, certain times they'd say in the patch, it will give you an extra objective. When you save when you reignite this girl with one of the Thin Bloods, you in the patch you have the ability to give her stuff back, which you found in the in the diner, which wasn't there initially, but now you have the option to give her stuff back or something. I don't know. But there would be like little patch notes saying, so it might add to a couple of missions or add another side quest or something like that. But yeah, I think mostly I just wanted it just so it would the quality of life things, any clipping problems or any crashes or something, and of course the widescreen. That was like the whole main reason why I downloaded it. I didn't even try it vanilla. I think the first thing I did was when I first did it was make sure I had the patch installed. So
yeah, that was the widescreen part of the patch was really nice. I played it on my 4K monitor and the game just looked great. But we'll get to that in the graphics a little later.
You always got to mention that 4K monitor, don't you?
That's right, yeah. I know it makes you jealous. So the beauty of this game, or one of the nice things about this game, is that there's so many ways to approach it, and you kind of get a different experience every time. There's so many different classes and different styles of gameplay. Like you can play first-person shooter way. You can do it hack and slash. You can play everything stealth. There's a big, huge stealth mechanic in the game as well. So I was kind of wondering how you guys approached the game. What kind of class did you pick and all that stuff? So who would like to start? Josh, would you like to start?
Sure, why not?
Sure.
Yeah, well, just before we started recording, I had like a meltdown, so I'm just kind of I feel a little stressed, like trying to come down.
Do you need me to come back to you later, or do you need?
Well,
No, you're good.
you.
No, that's cool. It's cool. I'm good. I'm just joking. Pam in the Discord was saying to try the Tremere class, and I was like, all right, maybe I will. But the thing that I thought was cool is to have that questionnaire at the beginning. Like you can do a questionnaire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just went ahead and did that, and then I ended up with Tremere anyway when I did it.
Nice.
So,
There you go.
I was like, all right, cool. And when I was kind of like making my build, I was kind of more focusing on like stealth and like melee combat mostly. So I could sneak up behind people, and I could. I love the ragdoll effects when you slice people. So I thought that was fun. I wanted to, maximize that as much as I could. But I did use the powers quite a bit too. So, yeah.
What were the powers? Like each character has different, some different.
This
powers.
one had like a command. You can like daze people and walk by them. They had like there's a lot of them.
There was one that I think drained their health. Another one where you can mind control. One that gave you a buff.
Yeah, buff. The blood buff was pretty helpful.
Because I did Tremere as well, and so I'm trying to think. Most of the time, I would just use like the buff, and then the one that would, I don't know if it was drain their health or whatever. I can't remember the name of it. I'd feel stupid. But yeah,
if once you level up, you get some cool powers. Like you get, I got blood boil. You can boil someone's blood.
So good. I love that one.
The animation's crazy, and the sound effects are just really cool for it. I'm just like, I feel like a badass. Like, what's up? Blowing up the guy. Yeah, and blood theft, which is another one. You can like hit somebody and like steal their blood, which is pretty cool. So
Make them vomit blood.
Yeah, that's like the blood purge. You can go like into like 3 or 4 guys and then hit it, and then they all start vomiting blood. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Pam, do you have like a go-to? Like, I imagine you played this a few times. Is there a favorite or go-to or?
Malkavian's my favorite class because they're nuts. So they have like madness as a quality, so they hear voices in their heads. There's a lot of stuff that they say that's actually giving away things that will happen later in the game. So they are like prescient and they can tell what's going on. And depending on whether you've played the game or not before, you may or may not pick up on it. Weird things happen, like you can have a conversation with a stop sign, or sometimes the television in your apartment will start talking to you.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Cool.
They add cool things, and all of their dialogue is completely different than the rest of the classes, and they like love alliteration, and I really like them. And so their powers are, I think everyone gets Auspex, the buff one. Yeah. And they have dementation, which can drive other people crazy. So it's like the dominate that the Ventrue has, but that the Tremere has, but it's like madness, so you can like make people lose their minds, which is pretty cool. And then I think they can like obfuscate, which is like a semi-stealth. So yeah, it's funny because this game is so like there's so much you can do, like different ways you can play, but I basically always go with like very heavy into the powers and then just using melee DPS. Like I never, no matter what class I'm playing, use a gun. I think the gun play sucks. So I just always go around hitting people with a disembodied arm mostly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought the knife was pretty OP early on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, the gunplay was quite terrible. Unfortunately.
I didn't mind the shotgun. I used that a couple times.
Yeah.
But that's mostly because of spread. I don't know. I think I just used it in the first, like at the end of the first chapter. You have to blow up that warehouse, and I picked up a shotgun and just because there were so many guys, I just was blowing people away left and right with that. But I don't know.
What was your class, Ryan?
I also did a Tremere, whatever. Yeah, the one that Josh had. Because again, like I never played it before, so I wanted to pick a class that would probably ease me into it. I am curious with all the other ones, though. I really want to just keep playing this and go back and try all the other ones.
Yeah.
I hear the Nosferatu class is quite intense to play because you can't be seen in public. You can't walk among people, so you have to be really stealthy and go about things. And which is kind of cool because you can kind of see that in like that's what's really cool is how many different ways you can tackle stuff, like going through the sewers and you can either hacking things or maybe finding a vent to get somewhere instead of having to hack something or lockpick and stuff. So I really liked finding all these different ways. Like I might have gotten into a room one way, but then while I was in that room, found another way to actually exit the room. And so I'm sitting there going like, oh, that's something I can remember if I'm playing a different class or something else, you know? Because I was kind of heavily, even though I did the auto level up, at least initially, but then I started focusing on stealth and hacking and lockpicking. So I kind of shut it off so I can put points into that because the auto level up wasn't really doing that with that character, at least not fast enough for me. So I sort of kind of turned him into a stealth kind of hacking and robbery guy, whatever the heck it is.
A thief?
Thief, yeah.
Okay.
And I put a lot of points into my melee attack so far, but yeah. So that was fun, but again, there were so many different classes. I want to just go back and at least attempt the first chapter with each one just to see how different it plays out for me.
Yeah, well, that Nosferatu class that you mentioned, it's not even really meant for a first-time playthrough.
No, it's
because
not.
it's so different. You don't really get a lot of the dialogue options in that because most of the people in the game are scared of you. They won't even talk to you, right? And you got to use those sewers and that to get around, so...
The funny thing is a few months before this, in January, I always end up watching the Awesome Games Done Quick on Twitch, and someone actually ran the game during the marathon, which I kind of wish I wouldn't have watched because it kind of gave me spoilers. But they actually used the Nosferatu class for their speed run, which was kind of cool. And I guess it's because it has all these different. He has these stealth options, so he can just basically go through a room without being seen if you put enough points into his stealth and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I actually saw it in action through that. And but the whole time the guy was playing, he was just like, yeah, if you're a first time playing this, don't use this class. He kept saying that while he was doing the speed run. So I was like, okay, but it was kind of cool.
Well, for myself, I did the questionnaire at the beginning of the game as well. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. It recommended a stealth class for me. I don't know which one that is, but after we just had our experience with Thief last month, I'm like, I was not in the mood for another stealth game. So I ended up going with the one that you can change into an animal. I don't know the name of it.
Gangrel?
Sure. Yeah, I think it began with an A. That sounds right. At first, you can't change into an animal. You have to level up to that. But at the beginning, you can call a wolf to come in and take out dudes, which was pretty cool. So I I don't know if it was the best class or whatever, but I don't know. I had fun with it.
It's cool though, because like everybody describes different, like, oh, I played it like this and I played it like that, and I know that's the main component of the game, but it's like, hey, my playthrough was my playthrough. That's how it feels.
Yeah,
you know what
and
I mean?
it's definitely one of the best features of the game. Like if I play one of the more modern Fallouts or one of the BioWare games, I don't really I didn't feel as much different as with different classes as I did with this game. Like this game just seems like, you could play completely different, whereas this would just, the other games kind of just give you different dialogue options, or you might unlock, there's certain missions that might be locked to you, but this was like, it felt like the entire environment would completely change how it interacts with you depending on which class you picked, which was freaking cool, if I must say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about, so we talked about the gunplay and that. I learned very quickly that trying to shoot, I actually put points towards the gunplay at the beginning because I thought that would be the way I'd play it. I'd play it more like first person shooter style, and then trying to shoot a gun, trying to shoot somebody. And even Jack tells you at the beginning of the game, guns are pretty much going to do not much of anything unless you have a shotgun. It's fairly useless. So like you, Ryan, I found the knife after just an hour or two, and I found that to be like first it was my claws, like just nothing, just melee claws. It might have been the class I was using that was really good. Then the knife worked really well.
Because you get like a crowbar or something, and it's like one of the first things you pick up is like a crowbar or a bat, and those things are useless. Like you swing it so slow, they do so little damage, and then you look at the stats and you realize, oh, my fists do more damage than this actual weapon.
Yeah.
And then you get a knife and you're like, why is this so much better?
I think it was a baseball bat for me. I don't think it was a crowbar for me. And then
tire iron, I think, something like that.
That's what it was. That's right, tire iron. And then I upgraded to the katana at some point, and that was it. That was the weapon I used for the rest of the game.
I think the only cool weapon I found a flamethrower near the end of the game.
Oh yes, the flamethrower was very
fun
OP.
to use.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have made it to the end of the game without that sucker. That was good times.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Did you guys use anything else? Anything different or?
The katana.
Katana
I love
too.
the katana.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mostly the katana or the severed arm.
Yeah, the severed arm was pretty wild. Well, there was a stone gargoyle that I had to fight at some point that a knife or a blade wouldn't do too much damage. So I believe I used the arm on that. I needed something blunt for that stone gargoyle, and that seemed to work.
He took me a lot of tries when I tried to beat him.
Really?
Yeah, but you get like a totem if you go. I went and talked to my leader, and he gave me like a totem that helped out. But yeah, it took me a little while to beat him. I don't know.
I didn't have too. He was so slow. I didn't have much problem with him. I would just run up to him, hit him, and then back off. He would do his animation. Then I'd run up and hit him.
It took me like maybe 2 or 3 tries. I don't know. He wasn't super hard, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Your stats might have been different than
True.
his, and so
Yeah.
you might have been a lot.
I might have went a little too early or something. I don't know.
That was the one thing that confused me. Is like it didn't confuse me like the leveling up, but just like because you don't really. Like you get points, but you don't really. I guess you have a level, but it's one of those things where you're not really sure going into a mission if you're going to be out leveled or not. Like initially, that kind of confused me. Like I guess maybe I'm just too used to being handheld with those and being you're too low level to do this mission yet or something. So there are sometimes like you'd go into a situation, you'd get your ass handed to you, and then maybe you'd come back to it after you did a few other things and. Then you'd be better, but it was kind of more of a trial and error kind of thing.
Well, I just did the old quick save trick before I went into fight the gargoyle. I said, I'll save here. I'll see what it's about. If I can get through them okay, then I know I'm good. If not,
I will admit, this is the game that I have probably quick saved the most on because I was always afraid getting into a conversation. I might say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Or like like the twins. Like I tried so hard to convince the twins to coexist, but I just my level wasn't high enough. So I went through that conversation so many times, and ultimately I just said, "Screw it, one of you got to die." I guess.
Yeah.
I was trying different dialogue options and this and that, and I'm just like, I guess no matter what, it's not going to work. So one of them's going to have to die.
Well, how did each of us try to play? Did you try to play good, bad?
I was trying to be a good boy. I was trying to not be
an
a
angel?
jerk. I was not an angel. I did do a couple of things where I was kind of a jerk. Like, I think there was like this vampire that was eating people in the hospital, and there was this ghost hunting crew that was there.
Oh, yeah.
And she told me to send the guy back down there, and I'm just like, okay. I sent the guy back down there, and I lost some humanity to it. But then there's like these random things. Like, it didn't bother me too much because like earlier on, if you go to the hospital early on, there's like this girl. I don't know if anyone else did this one, laying there going, "Oh, I'm in pain, and so you can offer to give her your blood. And if you give her, which by the way is the weirdest animation. Like the animation, at least with mine, it looks so weird because you're sitting there holding the wrist and your eyes are like going weird like this. Like, all you're doing is feeding her blood. Why are your eyes? It was the weirdest thing. It was so freaky. But then you gain some humanity as long as you don't tell her you're a vampire. Because if you tell her you're a vampire, she's like, security. So again, thank you, quick save. So you can go back and do the right things. So it didn't bother me too much. Like every now and then you had to weigh the pros and cons, and I had enough humanity that every now and then, because I was curious, because at first I attacked that vampire that was like, I don't know, I can't remember what her name was, but she's like this old vampire and she's trying to find artifacts. But I actually wanted to get missions from her. So after I killed her the first time, which she'd summon zombies and stuff, I reloaded and I actually did what she told me to so I could see what her missions were, because it was kind of fascinating, even though she was clearly evil. But it's like, you kind of like, I wonder what she has. I wonder what, you know. And that's what's kind of cool about it. Every person you at least get to talk to is fascinating and seems to have like these elaborate backstories. And so you just like, you spend hours just talking to these people and trying to go through every dialogue tree and get these missions and stuff. And it's very immersive, and you'll just, and it's funny because the dialogue's kind of crass. So every now and then I'd hear my wife in the other room going, "What did they just say in there?" And I'd be like, well, these two twins are bickering, and yeah, they're a little messed up.
Yeah,
volume down.
That's what I liked about a lot of the characters, is they didn't seem to be too many.
They had personality.
Well, and none of them seemed to be very good or very bad. They all had like their own kind of motivations to do things. Like the way I approach these games all the time is I like to think of myself as like Clint Eastwood in the old Good and the Bad and the Ugly type movies. What he would do, what his character would do in those movies is he would play both sides, right? He would take every advantage he could from one side, get everything he could out of them, and then he'd go to the other side and screw them over as well. And I like doing that in games. And a lot of games don't let you do that. They're expecting you to play your first playthrough all the way good, and then maybe play it a second time bad or whatever if you want to experience. But it's never really, both sides are never really fleshed out. And this game allowed me to do that. It allowed me to play both sides. It allowed me to say, and a lot of games don't do this, say, well, you guys take care of it. You figure it out. So that's what I did with the twins. They were going back and forth. I couldn't tell who was telling the truth, who was lying. I don't know what you crazy broads, even if there is two of them, are talking about. And I just said, you guys figure it out. And the game actually, I guess it's random if which way they're going to go, if who's going to survive at the end. But the game itself resolved that situation. It was
I
nice.
think it's who you sort of side with in some way more than the other one.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there's a point value, I guess, they each have. And again, it's based off of, like she said, the relationship you have with each one of them. And if the point values both even out in the end, then they coexist. Or if one's higher than the other, then I don't know.
Oh, so they both can survive that situation? Oh, really?
You have to have really high persuasion or something.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it at the time, and I didn't really feel like going back when I had higher persuasion. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. What about you, Josh? How did you play through this game? Were you like all good, bad? Were you a bad boy, Josh?
When I play these games, I tend to try to be honorable, as much as I can.
Why?
But I don't know. This is how I lean, at least for
I'm not
like a first playthrough or whatever. But I tried to be like, I want to see what happens if I get the highest humanity I can. I was super goody, I guess, but I wanted to be buddies with everybody.
Buddies with everybody.
Yeah. Even
the rotten evil people.
Everybody in here is a little rotten, a little evil, I would assume, But I think that mission with the twins is pretty cool too. What we were talking about, like, did y'all even figure out that it was kind of the same person early on, or did it kind of hit you at once? Yeah, you kind of couldn't figure it out by seeing how everything's going. But yeah, playing through this game, I was just kind of like trying to be like, I'm your buddy, and I'm your buddy, and I'm your buddy. I was trying to like be friends with everybody. I kind of was. I don't know. That's how I am with these types of games.
It's not surprising at all. What about you, Pam?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite way of playing this game? All good, all bad?
I mean, I'm sort of the same. I like to be pragmatic. I also think like it's a game about most of the people you're dealing with are supernatural creatures, and humans are food. So like there's different definitions of good and bad, I think, here. So like I had no problem killing humans if that was what would benefit me. But at the same time, like if your humanity drops too low, that also cuts off options to you. So like whatever will give me the most advantage stuff to do is like where I usually go. So, I didn't feel too bad when I had to do something bad, but I also, tried to keep as many people alive so that I could visit them or benefit from them in some way later on.
I think that's my fear with these type of games. It's like, if I piss this person off, it's going to close off some of the game for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to see as much of it as I can because, I want to spend as much time in the world and talk to as many people as I can when I'm in this type of environment. So,
yeah, I guess we didn't mention what the Masquerade is, and that's basically all these vampires don't want humans to find out about them. So part of your job as a vampire is not to expose the world to your vampirism. And if you do, the punishment is death. They'll just come in and they'll say, hey, you went too far, and we're going to have to get rid of you. And that's kind of what happens to the guy who turns you into a vampire, right? They say, hey, no, you did a bad thing, and we're going to have to get rid of you.
You're supposed to get permission before you can turn someone. And if you don't, then that's against the law, against the rules of the Masquerade, and then you get judged by the prince or whatever that was all about, and which is pretty fascinating. And then you're explained like, yeah, people are your food, but you don't. If you go, you can feed off them, but if you go too far, then that's bad. And
yeah, like on the levels, you can't just run around and start. Well, you can run around and start killing people, but it's not going to be a good time.
Police will come after you, and then you can get vampire hunters that come after you, and those guys are not very fun. Did anyone have a vampire hunter come after him? I stayed on the down low, so I didn't. Not initially.
No, I messed up a couple of times. I had to fix with a quick save, where the cops were coming after me for some reason. I don't know. I don't even know what I did. Sometimes it's like, I guess somebody saw me do something or something. I don't know. So I'd have to fix that. But other than that, no.
And there's like 3 zones. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to
go for it.
There's 3 zones. Like the Masquerade zone where you have to be in Masquerade all the time. You can't show yourself. And then there's the zone like in, like, I guess supernatural areas like vampire layers and stuff, are like, they're all houses and stuff. But they have like you can't do any weapons, you can't use any of your powers. And then there's combat areas where you can just kill whoever.
Go nuts. Yeah, pretty much the rule is if they're attacking you, they're fair game. You can do whatever you want to them as long as you're in those combat zones.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever gotten like a death from breaking the Masquerade too much, but I like that you get to see the results of that. Like in Hollywood, Ash Rivers. He has been breaking the Masquerade, and so like one of the quests is to help him escape or not from the vampire hunters that are after him. So it's cool that you get to sort of see the effects of it, even if you are not sort of breaking it yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the writing in this game, all in all. I just was thinking of a small thing. You go into the VHS store and you're talking to that super like sci-fi buff guy, like he likes horror movies and stuff. And then he's like, "Yeah, I have this idea for a screenplay. It's vampires, and they have a society." And then you could say, "Oh, you know too much. I'm going to kill you."
Right.
Or, you know,
You know too much.
Exactly.
Okay, well, this game is notorious for not being complete. Even though there is a patch that fixes a lot of things, there are quite a bit of bugs still in the game. Notoriously, like, you can run into spots where you're just in a corner and you can't get out of them. The game, I don't know if the game itself does, but people online actually recommend that you have access to the console to, like we talked about it in the last episode, where you can type in no clip to get through things and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys run into any bugs at all? Did you get stuck at all?
Yes.
Anything like that? All right, Josh, go for it.
I sequence broke a mission later on when you have they do like experiments on you and you have to get through that.
Okay,
Yeah, like later on in Chinatown. And the door wouldn't open for me. And I was like, you're supposed to go to the next room. And I'm like, it didn't trigger. What's going on? I reloaded. I did the room again. It wouldn't load. And I looked it up, and a lot of people had that issue. So I had to just no clip through the door and keep going. So, yeah.
Okay.
I actually, early on, one of the first missions, which, by the way, is an excellent mission, too. That's what I love, is just every mission seems to have such a cool, like, it's not just smash and grab or just nothing but combat. The missions have such a cool variety. And one of the early missions, the haunted house, which is a super cool sequence. You know, I loved it. And this is the only time I kind of ran into a bug there, is the very last part, right before you get to the room where you finally find the little necklace or whatever it is that you need to make the ghost be at rest or whatever. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get there. I couldn't get to the room. It wouldn't let me. So I had to do a no clip to get to it. But that was the only time I ran into it at that point. But I did want to mention that mission, because that was like, because, you know, you go into that game and you think it's going to be like action and all this stuff, and then you're like literally on a horror set, and you're like crapping yourself.
Yeah, it was a little bit survival horror-ish.
Yeah, very survival horror-ish. And it was such a cool sequence, because you'd walk, and then all of a sudden you'd be looking at something on the table, and then the vase would come and hit you in the face. You know, it just hit you out of nowhere or something like that. You're just like, holy crap. And so all of a sudden you're just like, I'm like hugging the walls, and I'm just looking at everything like, is that going to hit me? And I think that was the first time I almost died, because I was trying to, like, the house is starting to like attack you to keep you from getting to the necklace and stuff. And there's like flames everywhere and steam and spirits and stuff. And like, that was like the first time I almost died, because I was like running to get through that area, because it was just freaking me out so much. But that was a really cool sequence. That was a really cool way to make that, to make like a little mini horror area. And there was a couple more stuff like that too. But yeah.
What about you?
I like that there's sorry, I was just gonna say, I like that there's no combat in that area, which is a nice surprise.
And that's the thing. I kept thinking like there was like a big demon was going to come out and I was going to have to fight it or something. But no, you find the necklace. You see like the room goes from being run down to being pretty and all that stuff and like new. And then you grab the necklace and you're done, you know. Mm-hmm. But because there's that one thing where you see, I think it was the father with like you see this image of him in like the basement. And you round the corner, he's not there. So, like, I kept expecting I was going to have to fight him, you know. Yeah. But you never do. Yeah.
Pam, the many times that you've played this game, you run into any crazy bugs or anything like that?
I also had that one in Chinatown on a very early playthrough where I couldn't get through the door, where it wouldn't open. Most of what I get now, like the occasional time I'll get stuck like coming out of a sewer or something, and I'll just get like stuck in the terrain and have to no clip out of it. Other than that, it's mostly in areas that are like really tight, like areas where you need to crouch to go through them, like in the abandoned hospital has a bunch, and the camera will just like go nuts. But that's most of what I see in the game now.
Yeah, oddly, you can jump crouch into it's
Yeah.
a lot of times you need to jump and then crouch, or jump and hit the crouch button. Like the first Half-Life is notorious for that, but in this game you can actually crouch and then jump to get through. That was kind of weird.
There are a couple of events. I think there was an event that for some reason it wouldn't let me climb up into. Like I think I had to like no clip to get into it. Like there was every now and then event would do that, but yeah. It was weird. There was some clipping issues with, like, again, small spaces. Anytime you were in a small area or something like that, you had the risk of either getting stuck or something.
I did get a sound loop at one point too, when I did a power, and it just had the power effect sound going over and over again. It stopped. It stopped after a little while, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah. So.
Well, for me, the big one, there was a few like just NPCs walking around, and they're kind of like floating. Their legs aren't moving and stuff like that. But the big one for me was the one where you needed to kill a stripper in the basement of that VHS store. I couldn't figure out. Like I was trying to figure out. I stayed away from walkthroughs as much as possible. I couldn't figure out how to get this one patron out of the area. I needed to get rid of him so I can get the strippers to come out, and I could kill the one stripper. It just wasn't working out. The guy
Someone's going to take this audio out of context.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm used to it. So this one patron kept going to the money machine and getting money to keep going. So I left the area, went and did some other things, and I got to a point where this was another part that I got stuck with on myself. I missed that you can get into cabs to go into other areas. So I was playing through everything in that first area, trying to find everything, and that was like the last mission I had. So I went back to the store, and the guy, or to the strip club in the basement, and the guy was or I figured out that you had to take the money out of the machine. You had to break the money machine so you'd stop going. But he was stuck inside the booth, right? The creepy booth or whatever they call it. He was stuck in there. He wouldn't come out. I went in there. I tried shooting a gun beside him to scare him, to get him to come out or anything. Like he just wouldn't get out of the way. And the strippers won't come out if he's in there. So. Eventually what I had to do was no clip my way through the door, and I used another one called I can't remember what it was called, but it was something where they wouldn't this is very distracting with Mario and your camera there, Ryan, thank you very much. You couldn't or it was something where like the NPCs couldn't detect you, so I had to do that in order to get into the room to get that mission to finally go. So that was it. That was really the only part where I got really stuck.
That's like, if I guess Pam, you did QA, so this is like this game didn't have a lot of QA. That's probably why it's like that. Like they didn't get to test it enough to see all the different outcomes and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't get testing enough at all. I think like Activision was supposed to do some testing and Troika was supposed to do some testing, but between the two of them, they didn't do that much.
Yeah, the game overall just doesn't feel complete when you get further in. Like the first 3 worlds, like everything seems really fleshed out. There's a lot of side missions in that. And as you get closer to the end of the game, you could tell that it just wasn't. Yeah, like sacrifices were made just to get the game out.
There's definitely some like dialogue trees. Like it's the same answer for the 3 or 4 choices you got at times. I noticed. Yeah, it's like you could tell that they probably had some ideas to branch this off a different direction, but they need you to go this way this time.
Right? So, yeah. Which I don't know, like if that is part of that or something. A lot of these games, like eventually, like sure, you can go anywhere, but they need to funnel you in at the end down
that's
one
probably what
tunnel,
it was too.
right?
Yeah.
That was like the biggest complaint with the Mass Effect 3. Eventually, the game has to. I don't know what people were expecting with that game. Anyways, that's another podcast. Okay, so
I would say that was not necessarily a disappointment, because, like I do say, you start enjoying the world that you're in so much that it gets disappointing when you can't interact with it more in some ways. And like you said, as you progress, you can tell where they cut corners. You couldn't, there wasn't more options, like that kind of stuff. And like I said, I enjoyed being in this world and I enjoyed the characters. And so there are these moments where I'm like, man, I wish it was just slightly more fleshed out here, where there was something else. It just felt like there was something else missing,
Yeah, the parts where it starts to really favor combat over the dialogue and the quests and things, those are definitely where it gets weaker and it feels more unfinished. Like near the end, it's a huge stretch of combat, and that's not really what anyone wants out of this game.
Yeah, it's like every other part of the game is like, here's this really cool set piece where you do this really awesome puzzle, and then the last 3 is like, hey, there's like 30 guys, go kill them.
Yeah.
Make it to the top of the tower.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, I just want to talk about the graphics a little bit. I thought this game looks fantastic, regardless of its age. I love how dark and gritty everything is, yet bright and vibrant and colorful at the same time. There's like a lot of contrast between, the both, but it all seems to blend really well together. What do you guys think of the graphics? Who wants to start? Josh, you want to start talking about the graphics?
Yeah, I agree with you. The graphics are really well done. Has a really nice mood to it and atmosphere. Like every single area has its own personality too, and you kind of start like living in that section of the world. So I guess we didn't really explain this too well, but like you said, you have the cab system. You can go to different areas, and there's like 4 main areas, like downtown, Chinatown. What's the beginning called? It's
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, yeah. And then
Hollywood.
And Hollywood, yeah. And each section has kind of like its own like feel to it. And like you go to Hollywood, there's neon lights everywhere. Santa Monica, you kind of feel like, oh, this is more like a beach town. And I mean, it's at night all the time, of course, since you're a vampire. And I think it looks really nice, and the characters actually have their own personality to them. Of course, the NPCs walking around are all similar, but like the main characters you talk to have their own like cool look to them. They're all unique. They're all well done, and I just generally was pretty impressed, especially for when this game came out. So, yeah.
The facial animations in particular were pretty fun. Sometimes you'd get some really goofy stuff.
Yeah,
like I mentioned with the hospital earlier, where he's making a weird face, but they really tried to, it wasn't just like Skyrim or anything like that, where they're just standing there jaw jacking. They were actually kind of trying to emote something. Like one particular NPC that was kind of expressive early on was when you're on the beach and you're talking to the Thin Bloods, and there's this one that can see the future, and she's sitting there going, oh. It's just being really dramatic and all that stuff. And I thought it was cool. It was a nice little touch, because I always hate that in a game where it's just these 2 still NPCs sitting there talking to each other, not doing nothing. Yeah. And in this case, it felt like, you could see their emotion. You could see if they were pissed at you. You could see if they were happy at you, for when this game came out, it was probably the best that you could do facial animation wise with that stuff.
Yeah.
With that engine.
The twins are definitely like a good example of that. They each have their own look to them and facial expressions and all that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I like every area of the game. The up close character portraits during dialogue are some of my favorite from any game. Like, they're not the most realistic looking, but they're just so expressive and they look really good, and they don't get into that weird uncanny valley with like some newer games. They all have just this like great glint in their eye that makes them look really alive, even if they're undead. And I really love the character models a lot, and I kind of wish more games would use something similar to this. The only time I'm So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the only time I'm not pleased with the graphics is anytime I have to see my character in a cutscene, and they just they walk funny and they're like weird and hunched over, and it's not good. The animations.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was just the character I picked. I picked a female character. I don't know. She had darker hair, so I guess that kind of.
No, I think all the characters have the same like walk animation, the men and the women, and it's not.
Yeah,
a good one.
The women's dresses like go. I guess robes. They're kind of just flowing. They have them on their own the whole time. Yeah.
I wish they would have given you a few more options with your character, like being able to edit how they look and stuff like that. But I guess again they probably ran out of time with that.
Well, just the touch on the facial animations and that. I think a part of an advantage this game has is that I don't know if it's the time that it came out or whatever, but all the characters kind of have a little bit of a cartoony look to them. It looks kind of comic booky, and you can get away with those facial expressions and that. Mm-hmm. And I like that. Well, not everything has to be realistic.
That's what I was going to ask. This is based off of not a board game, but a role-playing game, basically.
Right.
So were they going off of artwork that's been previously done? I'm asking. I don't know. I didn't look it up. Like, were these characters already created for the tabletop RPG? And did they just go off of that and put it into the game, or did they use their creative expressions to kind of just make their own versions of it? Because I'm sure these characters probably showed up in the tabletop game, and so
I don't know.
I'm just asking.
Question. Some of the characters definitely are from the like pen and paper game, but I don't know about the artwork. I don't think that the artwork style is similar than it would be in the books, but I'm not positive.
Okay, I think the music is in high regard in this game. I say I think because I'm old and I don't understand it. You go into these clubs and there's lots of bass and booming. I immediately went to the options to see if there was a way I could turn off the music, and unfortunately there isn't. But apparently people really like that stuff.
I like it.
There's like a vinyl pressing of the music soundtrack coming.
It's the OST. It's not any of the licensed stuff that you would hear in the clubs.
Oh, that's licensed. People paid money for a license for that. Okay.
It's all goth music.
I don't know. I don't know. People tell me I'm a music snob. I don't know where that comes from, but sure, whatever.
Because you're old. Remember?
It would have been so great to go into those bars and they'd be playing some Allman Brothers, or you can go up to a jukebox, something nice like that. That was so cool, But whatever.
That's not very vampire.
Yeah, it gives it that vampire gothy feel. Like I love the artwork, like from the UI design, and like when you go into Pod's menu, it's like all this gothic imagery and stuff. It just all adds to that feel of the game.
So who else danced on the dance floor with their character during these clubs? Isn't that the funnest little dance?
It is.
I did it accidentally once. I was like, what's happening?
That animation got stuck in my head once. For some reason, I would just sit there going, like, where have I seen that before? I've seen that dance before. And then I played this game, and I go, that's where I've seen it before. It's just, oh, my God. It's like me trying to dance in real life. That's what that reminded me of. My God.
It works, though. Every time you start dancing, everyone gathers around. They're like, yeah, look at this guy go.
Start the party.
Is there a benefit? Is there a benefit at all to it? Do you get any perks to doing that, or no? Just an extra? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Okay, I put gameplay down next, but I think we hit everything that I wanted to talk about the gameplay, unless there was something else that anyone else wanted to mention about it. We got the Masquerade stuff down. Different
Melee's
styles,
good, guns bad,
dialogue.
Lost.
Yeah, okay. So we hit
I just want to say, I love the menus. Like, I love the quest menu. I think it's very good and very usable and makes it easy to know where you're supposed to be going next.
Yeah.
And also, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it does a nice job of highlighting what has changed, which is very, very nice.
Yeah. And then the stats screen is also very cool and very unique. I've never seen one quite like that before.
I will say I didn't appreciate that your character doesn't have a map. You had to go up to the subway. There was plenty of them on the level, but at some point I just wanted to have like a map where I could just like hit M, and map comes up and bingo. Yeah. Good to go.
I kind of like the bus stops. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
I didn't want to have to find a bus stop. And then you got to orientate yourself, right? Because you're looking at where the bus stop is. It's saying you're here, but where am I going? The environments are not that big. It's a minor gripe, honestly. And then when I got into the sewers, I was like sweating a little bit with the different turns and that. But, you got used to it quick enough and that. But I don't know. I guess I'm a modern gamer, and I prefer modern things like hitting M.
You get really into role playing though. It feels part of the world. Like you feel like you're in the game, right?
Yeah, that's. I guess
true. Having a map on your side you can open up.
Yeah,
works too. But yeah,
sure. Okay, I would find a kiosk that had a map of the city or something, or I'd go to the 7-Eleven and buy a map
for it. That's right. Little mini game.
Buy a map.
Actually, I'd get Google Maps on my phone. Nobody had a smartphone in this game. What's up with that? Actually, I did want to mention that too. There is a little bit of like I think at the beginning of the game Jack says we live in the world of cell phones or cameras in phones and that. So that's why you got to be careful with the Masquerade. Yeah. But other than that, there didn't really feel to be any sort of time with the game. Like the TVs were old school SD TVs. There were phones, still the what do you call them? Landline phones and pay phones and that.
Yeah. Even though it was set in a modern time, it still kind of kept itself slightly ageless by mixing a bit of new and old.
Yeah, like the taxi cab looked like it was from the 1950s. It did not look like a modern car. And even the style of a lot of guys, they look like roadies for the Allman Brothers band.
There you go. You just want those Allman Brothers.
I got to find that reference there somewhere. Yeah.
Would a cell phone even be able to take a picture of a vampire? Because you don't see yourself in a mirror. And isn't that part of lore that you can't take a picture of a vampire? Or am I just thinking of something else?
I'm not
sure.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Maybe.
But I was just going to say, when I play the game in the setting, the time period just makes me think Matrix. Like
really?
Yeah, that's what it made me think
because Matrix had the cell phone. I can see that. Yeah. And everything was usually dark in the Matrix.
Yeah, it's just like kind of like the time, like when it's set. That's where the vibes I got.
Thank you.
Okay, we talked about the ending a little bit, touched on it a little bit. Eventually, this game kind of tunnels you down. A lot of melee section, all that. There's a couple of end bosses in that. I'm not sure. I'm just going to talk about my experience with the ending a little bit because I'm not sure exactly what happened, if the choices that I made actually affected what I had to do. So basically, because like I play this like the man with no name in the old Clint Eastwood movies, you're given a choice at some point because you're working for what's his name, the guy that is in the top of the
Prince
tower.
LaCroix.
The Prince, right? Okay, so there's Prince LaCroix, and then there's the Asian vampire that's kind of evil.
They're all kind of evil,
right? And at some point you can choose that side or the other side. And for me, I had no idea like who was good or who was bad. Like I was questioning everybody, so I just I chose to do things for myself. I said, okay, I'm just going out on my own, And you're in this cab, and the cab driver's saying, "Are you sure? Is this what you want to do?" I said, "Absolutely, that's what I want to do." And so then I had to play a mission where I fought the evil Asian vampire, and she was an end boss in there. And then I had to fight LaCroix. If I chose a side, would I have had to do both, or like, do you get a pass on one, or does anyone know? No one knows?
Okay. I think you would get a pass on one, but it's been a while since I sided with anyone.
Okay. So you do the same thing, Pam? You just kind of do your own thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went my own way.
Okay.
I killed everyone.
Well, you get more content out of it, too, doing it that way. What about you guys? Ryan, what did you do?
I honestly haven't got to the very end yet. I'm still working my way to it. It's okay, though.
Strike two on you.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
This is why we have to... Okay, I won't get into it.
Don't start. I've played plenty of it to know how good the game is.
How far did you make it? Did you make it to the beach?
I'm halfway through. Yes,
Okay.
I made it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so
That's at the beginning of the game. For any.
no, I made it past the beach.
Okay, that's good.
God, I just haven't beat it yet. Okay, you can still talk about the ending. It's not going to hurt my feelings if I know how the ending goes. But
right.
I'm just saying I haven't got to the very ending yet. But
All right. What about you, Josh?
I chose to side with my clan, my Tremiers. I sided with them, but I
Okay.
still ended up having to fight the two bosses at the end.
Oh, really?
I think
Okay.
it just changes the dialogue a little bit near the end because they'll kind of like spawn in and be like, hey, now we got the sarcophagus, and then they do like an Indiana Jones scenes and put the sarcophagus in like a big warehouse and lock it up and stuff. I'm not even
Right.
kidding. That's how my ending goes.
Really?
Yeah. It's basically the scene out of Indiana Jones with the crates and everything everywhere, and they put the sarcophagus in this big crate and lock it up and stuff. Yeah.
So, nobody opens it?
No one opens it in the playthrough I played. I didn't see it get opened. So
That is wild. That's crazy. I did not think that could happen. So for my playthrough, I fought the Asian lady. She was she turned into a big giant slug, and had to go up and slash her a ton. If there's one complaint I have about the end bosses and that, like I played it melee. There was that slug one, which was okay. I got through that. But then the other guy, LaCroix, you don't actually fight LaCroix. You fight his, I don't know, he kind of looked like...
Sheriff.
Yeah, he looked like Ron Perlman to me. I don't know. If they were going to make a movie, I think Ron Perlman should play that guy. And he turns into a beast that can fly around in that. And I'm like, I'm a hack and slash guy. I can't hack you while you're flying around. And that's one of my pet peeves in games is like, you play a game a certain way throughout the whole thing. It teaches this thing. And then a lot of games do this. At the end, it gives you like something else to do. And it's like, no, I've been training myself to do this. I should be able to get through the game doing this. So I don't know if you can slash him. I tried, and like when you'd get closer in that, but he seemed to be flying around in that. So I had to resort to using guns, and I was terrible with the guns.
I think you have to. Aren't there lights on the roof that you can like point at him and it makes him fall down?
Is there? I
think
missed
so.
that if there is.
I think there's a maybe I'm making that up. I don't know, but I don't remember having problem with him. But I did have a problem with the vampire hunter. I think his name's Gunther or something like that. Because you couldn't get near him, and I ended up just god moding it because I was like, I have no gun skill, so I just cheated my way through that one.
I cheated my way through that as well. And there was actually another point where I did that. It was before you meet the final vampire lady. You had to go through like this maze and that, and you had to collect these idols and put them on statues and that.
Yeah.
So there was one part where you got to a hallway. There were bad guys on one side, bad guys on the other. They both have range attacks that could kill me in one shot because they were fire things. And you can't run up to them because big knives would come towards you and cut you in half. I could not figure out how to get through that. And to me, that felt like this was an unfinished part of the game or something like that. So I did not feel bad about god moding my way through that at all. Did you guys figure out a way through that, or?
I just used my powers and dazed two of them.
Yeah,
dazed two of them and then ran up to the other two.
That's probably a mistake I made too. I did not level up my superpowers yet. I never actually got to change into an animal. I could call up that wolf, but I didn't actually do that. So that was probably my bad on that end. But I was getting really frustrated with that part. I was like, how do I get these guys? So
you die so many times, you're like, hey, screw it.
Yeah.
For every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Oh, and then there was that one puzzle that was bonkers. I could not figure that one out. I actually watched someone online do it. That one in the sewer where you had to hit a switch and then dive into the water.
Oh, yeah, that frustrated me. I was on that for at least 45 minutes.
Yeah,
like, what am I doing wrong here?
I watched one guy do it online, legit, and he was like fast forwarding. He actually fast forwarded his video because it was taking him so long to do it, and I was like, no clip. Let's just get there and get it.
It's just like you have to do the timing windows like so small.
Yeah.
You have to hit it, and then you have to like turn the vent on and then jump right away and then go down.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I ended up doing it, but it took me a while. So
No, I wasn't
Like they
having that.
put it in there as extra filler just to make the game a little longer, almost. I don't know.
those sewers were long. That was a long section. In general.
That was way too long.
I think it was
Like-
one of those playtest things where it just wasn't tested well, and if they took some time with it, they probably would have refined it, maybe opened the window a little bit for you. But
Yeah. I find the best combat sections are the ones that are very concise. Like when you go to get that snuff film,
Yes.
like that's that section with those weird little monsters, or when you go to fight the guy who makes the prosthetic limbs, like
Yeah.
like nice little bits of combat.
Yeah.
But as soon as it starts being all combat for an hour, then it's not fun.
those little monsters were built up too. Like you had to watch a video of them killing a bunch of people, and then you had to find the rest of the video to watch more of them killing a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I was like so nervous. I'm like, okay, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be insane. And I just walk up to him with my sword and hack them to pieces. I'm like, hey, these guys are easy. No problem. Nice.
Yeah,
Did
this
any of you run out of blood during that sequence? Or during that long sequence?
No,
Had an issue.
I don't think I ever ran out of blood.
Okay. Like, it came
that
close a couple times.
in the sewers, I would just eat rats.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. They
Yeah.
told you not to
You come
do
across-
that. The other vampires
no.
poo-poo on you if you eat rats. But if nobody sees you,
Yeah,
eat
that's
away.
fine.
Yeah. There's also an item that I think you get from Pisha in the abandoned hospital if you do what she wants. It's like a relic that collects blood from everything that you fight. So it sort of refills anytime you have combat. So that makes it a lot easier to not run out of blood.
Okay. Anything else? I think we did it. All right. Are we ready for the big three questions? I'm just kind of ripping this off of Curtis and the CC Portable because he asked 3 questions of all of his guests at the end of the show. So I'm going to ask you guys 3 questions.
Ooh.
Here's question number 1. I think we're all going to say yes. Is
Five
this a
questions,
good
3
game?
questions.
Is this a good game? Ryan, is this a good game?
Yes, it's a good game. I definitely recommend downloading the patch and remembering that you do have a console if you need to do a quick clip or might need a God mode every now and then. It's okay. It's okay to
You
cheat
could do
sometimes.
You're not
All right,
cheating.
people.
You're not cheating.
Not cheating. You're going beyond some bad mechanics. But no, it was very immersive. I love the world I was in. I'm one of those people that sometimes just skips through all the dialogue, but in this case, I was purposely going through all the dialogue options that I could, just because I wanted the lore. I wanted to know more about the character I was talking to. Like, I found the interacting with the NPCs to be probably one of the more interesting aspects of this game. I enjoyed that almost more than the gameplay at some points.
Yeah, I agree because
you know.
usually that's the part that I skip. I'm hitting the
Yeah,
space button
yeah.
or whatever. Like, okay, I've read the dialogue already. I don't need to hear the actor say it, so I just hit space to get through it. But I was not doing that with this game. I was enjoying all that.
A lot of character, a lot of emotion in here. I think it's a good game. Really fun.
Pam, is this a good game?
It is a good game. It's, depending on the day, either my first or second favorite game of all time. So yes, despite the complaints that I voiced about, feeling a little unfinished or the longer combat sections, I find just the setting and the atmosphere all make up for it. The story and the writing, the voice acting is all so strong that it really pulls you through any of the weaker points of the game.
Okay, Josh, what do you say? Good game?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great game.
Great.
Very immersive. Yeah, it's
Bumped
great.
it
I
up.
would say it's
Bumped
great.
it up to great. All right.
I would say it's great. Like, it's rough around the edges, but I think just being in the world and immersing yourself and learning about all the characters and it's just a really fun adventure to go through. I really had a great time.
All right. Well, I agree with all you guys. There's really nothing else to say. You guys said it. Yeah, go get it. This is a good game. I would even pay full price for this game. Crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, would you recommend that people play this game today?
Well, Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I guess. Yeah, that's a kind of stupid question. I did not think out this list very well. All right.
That question kind of goes along with the first one.
All right. Let's ask the last one. Now, this one I was thinking, is this game best played on the PC? But it only came out on the PC. So what would you think if this game, or should this game, got a port onto the consoles? Would that be a good idea? Pam, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything about it that makes it like significantly better on PC. Sorry. But like I think it would handle fine with a controller, especially with the first third person view, the fact that you're really not doing all that much shooting if you know what's good for you.
Right.
I don't see anything that would make it like not like a CRPG, like an isometric one, which I just can't even imagine playing on a console. But this I definitely could.
All right. What about you, Josh? What do you say?
Yeah, it could. They do it with Fallouts, and it works just fine. Skyrim just fine. I would say this has some, lineage to that. It's similar style of gameplay and points. It has more hack and slashiness to it if you go the melee option, but yeah, it would work on the controller. And then when you need to type stuff on the keyboard, they just pull up a keyboard that you type in with your controller, and you'd be fine. I think it would work out just fine.
I gotta say, that was my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of the games. When you go up to a computer and you're typing stuff in. I felt I felt like I was in gamer mode with my fingers on the WASD. And then when I went up to a computer, it's time to type, and I'm suddenly I'm hacking in.
Yeah.
It was very immersive. It felt like real life VR. It was good times. Yeah. What about you, Ryan? Should this be ported onto consoles? What do you say?
I think this lends itself very well to being able to be ported to a console, but I will say I'd prefer it on PC just because of the modding community and being able to. I like the fact that there's a fan base out there that I don't know if they're still actively trying to like put things into the game that got left on the cutting floor, fix bugs and stuff like that. You don't necessarily get that with a console port as much, but
well,
but
assuming
that's my go-to thing with a lot of games is of course it's going to be better on the PC because guess what, fans can dive into it and do something with it eventually that way.
Well, assuming that it's all patched up and everything like it is now. Okay, I would say this should get a console port as well, just to get more people to play it, because I think people will enjoy it.
With the new game coming out, a lot of times they do that. Well, they will remaster the old game and put it out along with it, like it's a pre-order thing or something now. Like, when you pre-order Bloodlines 2, get the original one for free or something like that.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Bloodlines 2 because I have a bonus question, which really works out in my favor because my second question stunk so bad. So, bonus question: are you looking forward to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2? That's possibly rumored to come out sometime this year. Pam, are you looking forward to Bloodlines 2?
Yes, I was super excited. I watched the whole reveal event when that was streamed. So yeah, I'm very excited for it to come out. I'm glad they delayed it so that they can fix it up and hopefully avoid the problems that the first one had. Yeah.
Although there would be some nostalgia tied into that if it came out buggy and broken, it'd be like, yes, this is just like the first game. They got
just
it right.
like the first one.
I
would have been disappointed if it wouldn't have been broken. Dang it.
What about you, Ryan? You think there's enough...
Well, after playing this, I am excited for the new one as well. As long as my PC can handle it, that would probably be an issue. But no, if it's anything like this one, just updated with some more modern amenities, then I want them to stay true to the storytelling, want them to stay true to the characters. If they can get that right, it's going to be great. All
right, Josh, looking forward to Bloodlines 2.
Oh yeah, definitely. It kind of shot up more after playing this first one here. Like at first, I'm like, I might try that out. Sounds cool. And then I played this, and I'm like, okay, I'm down. And then I'm looking at the graphics of it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm tugging my collar. Like, I don't know if my PC can run that. So I don't know. I might play it on I might play it on Xbox. I'm sorry.
If they were able to port Witcher 3 to the frickin' Switch, then we should be able to find some sort of graphical settings on our PC to be able to run something like that.
But
I want to be pretty.
I don't know if they ported The Witcher 3 onto the Switch. I think they just kind of somehow got it to run. It's like getting Doom 3 to run on a Texas Instruments calculator.
Well, they also have Doom on the Switch.
The new one.
The new one.
Oh yeah. Wow.
I don't know if they're going to do that with Eternal. So.
Imagine playing that with those little tiny thumbsticks.
No, I cannot. I cannot. Well, what about me? Am I excited? Well, thanks for asking, guys. Yes, I am excited for Bloodlines 2. I can't wait for it to come out. And I might even pick it up on day one. As cheap as I am, I might even grab it on day one. Cool. Okay, so I think we've said it all. Anything else you want to say about Bloodlines?
Okay, just one last thing.
I knew someone else.
I just wanted to say this game feels like multiple games in one because of the cool set pieces, and that's the part of the game I'm going to remember the most is just the different places it takes you. And I just thought that was really cool. Like, you expect to just be on these dirty streets this whole time, but no, it goes places. You get in a kind of weird mansion with like weird creatures that are experimented on, and go down in caves, and yeah, it's cool. It's just a really cool game. That's it.
Okay.
It's been a very long time since I played a game where I was invested in the world I was playing it in. I felt that I wanted to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in the world of vampires. But
come on.
The world, as long as I'm playing it in a virtual world, it was really just a cool set piece, and it kept me invested. And it's a very long time since I played a game that hooked me and kept me invested like that.
I don't know. I would like to see you down in sewers sucking the blood out of rats. I think that would be right up your alley.
No, it was always so creepy because you'd get to know some NPCs, and you'd know certain NPCs would go down an alley or something. So you'd just be sitting there sometimes waiting by an alley, waiting for an NPC to go down it so you could go suck their blood. And you're sitting there going, what am I doing right now? Because there's a guy like, okay, that guy's going to go down the alley to take a piss, and I'm going to sneak up on him and suck his blood. And like you'd get to that point where like you'd do a mission, you'd be like, okay, I need blood. Let's see, where's that alley? Oh, there it is. Okay, wait. Up there's the guy.
I thought it was interesting too that that hobo blood was worth less.
Yeah, it was worth less. Like somehow your blood knows what kind of class you are. Yeah. Like you're an upperclassman. Your blood is better than a hobo classman.
I suppose their diet isn't as good, and maybe they drink a little bit of alcohol that thins the blood a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. I guess so. More diseases or something.
Okay, well, we have some house cleaning to do, but I think we're done with the Vampire Masquerade. So we're going to let Pam go so she doesn't have to sit and listen to us blab about stupid things. So, Pam, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it was great having you enlighten this conversation because it would have been just three guys stammering through the whole process. So thank you so much.
All right,
anything you would like to plug before you leave, by the way?
Yeah, you can check out my YouTube channel. It's called Cannot Be Tamed. And there's a bunch of videos on there. Retro videos, new videos, something for the whole family.
There's a video of this game on there.
There is.
Very good. Yep.
Yes, I plug it in the intro. It's in there.
Yep.
It'll be there. All right.
It's at the end, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much,
you.
Pam.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Suppose we should talk about Duke Nukem, baby!
Yeah. Want to talk about it? All right. Well, yeah, Duke Nukem. That's our game of the month for March. Have you guys been playing it at all lately? You started up yet?
I haven't started up yet, but I've played it so much in my life. It's
Yeah.
Duke Nukem was my life when it first came out back in, what was it, 96? Something like that. I made levels for it. I freaking played multiplayer, everything. Any expansion that would come out, I'd get for it. But, so yeah.
Which version are we playing? Are we playing the... I guess it's... What's the one that's available? Is it the 20th anniversary edition?
It's the 20th.
Yeah. Okay. The only one that's available right now is 20th. I don't know if GOG has it. Let me check right now to see. GOG used to have a couple versions of it, but I don't know if they still do.
You think Gearbox can put it all into one so that they can have their shift codes in there, because there's a menu for that apparently. I don't even know what that does in that game, because Borderlands has shift codes and they give special guns.
What's a shift code?
So basically, like in Borderlands, you have like this treasure chest, so they get golden keys, right? And they give you a shift code. You enter, you get golden keys, and you can get like a really rare gun or a weird gun.
They have that in Duke?
Yeah, like if you go,
Duke?
I don't know what it does, but the second option on the menu says shift.
Oh.
So I'm like, well, what is?
I
didn't click into it.
No,
that sounds like something we'll be complaining about next month.
Yeah, so I went ahead and like played a little.
I have the original version. I have the original CD. I have the original CD Atomic Edition, and I have all version on GOG, which they don't have anymore, and the 2 versions that are on Steam.
Yeah,
so I have every frickin' version that there possibly is.
Oh, I have the 2 versions on Steam. I actually have a port of it on the Xbox 360 as well, too.
Yeah. So you can get it anywhere.
Really, you guys can play it any way you want, really, but I think we're going to be playing some multiplayer this month.
Yes.
And we're going to be playing the 20th anniversary edition. So how about we set a date for the Saturday night work for people, for you guys?
Saturday night? Well, what we do is mention our Discord. We have a multiplayer section in our Discord, and we should try shooting for Saturday nights and see who shows up.
Okay.
Like I said, just mention. We can mention a time. We can, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. I don't know if there's any early morning people. I don't know how many people want to do multiplayer in the morning, but probably just shoot for the evening.
Yeah, let's do the evening. Maybe one of us starts it. Maybe another one carries it on and continues it. But if anyone's interested, just let us know. And I mean, at least we will be playing some. It's PvP, player versus player. Is there any PvE in the game? I don't think so. Right? There's no co-op.
You can play the episodes. There's co-op.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. You can play through the entire. Unless they took it out, and if they did, I would be severely pissed.
Wow,
because that was a major selling point.
I like this.
No, you can play co-op through every episode if you want to.
Great. That sounds like fun. Okay, so we'll be doing that on Saturday evenings. If you're listening to this, head over to our Discord.
What is it? bit.ly/quicksave-discord.
All right, and if you're interested, that's what we'll be doing.
There is a multiplayer lobby there. There's voice channels for multiplayer chat, so we can chat through Discord if you don't want to chat through Steam, because I know Steam can be a little iffy with the chat sometimes. Mm-hmm. But we've used Discord,
and it works really
well when it comes to doing multiplayer chat. So, so it's all right there through Discord. So do it. If you haven't found us through Discord, do it. Do it now.
I'm excited. I haven't played any multiplayer in a long time, so this will be good times. And so, speaking of Duke will wrap up Season 1 of the Quick Save Club. If you can believe it, Quick Save Club will be around for an entire year already. Went by fast. Just like that. Boom. Mm-hmm. So we will be starting Season 2 in May. And we have a major program change to let you all know about. Duke Nukem 3D. I got it. I got this, Josh. Okay. Duke Nukem 3D.
He had a dramatic pause.
Will be. You guys are great to riff with, let me tell you. Duke Nukem 3D will be the last game of the month ever for the Quick Save Club, because next year we will be doing a semi-monthly game of the month. Now, the show will still be around every month because we can't stay away from each other. Honestly, we get together once a month, we talk about a game, but it's not enough for us. We need to talk to each other even more. So we will be doing a Game of the Month podcast once every 2 months, and in between we'll be doing something. What the heck did we call it? I can't remember.
Save point.
Save point. There will be a save point.
In between.
Yeah. Right. Now, what this show will have, we're not exactly sure. I think we'll just be recording a conversation with each other. Maybe we'll talk about the Game of the Month a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we should.
How far we are.
I don't know. Maybe depending on the size of the game and that. I don't know. I don't know if people will be
talking about other games we're playing. Stuff like that.
We'll absolutely do that. Maybe talk about like some things that might be happening with PC gaming. I know in June there will be the E3 with the PC gaming show and all that stuff, so I'm sure there'll be stuff to talk about in that. But basically, we're finding it difficult to keep up with a game every month because we're busy. Like look at Ryan; he can't finish a game to save his life. The poor guy.
Well, here's a good example. Okay, because like I said, Vampire Masquerade, it's a great game and stuff, but you can get invested in it. It's a long game, So sometimes there are going to be games where we can finish it in a weekend, and other times there are games that you're going to want to invest more time in, like Vampire Masquerade, like Planetscape Torment, stuff like that, where you're going to want that 2-month cycle. And even if it is just a short game, we might tack something else on. Like if a game's too short, maybe we'll say, hey, we'll do 2, we'll throw 2 or something. We don't know. We're just spitballing. But, that's the whole point of it. It'll give us more time. It'll give us more material. And,
Because even with Vampire, I found even myself rushing through the last part of the game because I wanted to get it finished and have my thoughts all ready for this podcast. I didn't want to leave it to the last minute. So that extra month would certainly help with a game like this.
And that was my problem. I wasn't rushing through it. I was actually taking too much time, like I said.
Well, the beginning, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I was like, no walkthrough for me. I just want to explore this world and everything. And I was having a really good time. But then it's like, the crunch was starting to happen. So
crunch is real.
So yeah, semi-monthly, which apparently can mean once every 2 months or 2 times a month. It can mean either.
Yeah. Is that bi-monthly? Either one of those.
Bi-monthly. Whatever the heck it is. Yeah, we're bi-monthly now.
Bi-monthly now. But I guess I can pull up let
me pull up
what is the schedule?
Here.
So none of the games are changing. None of the games that we announced are changing. We're still doing all those games.
It just might be on a different month.
Right. It'll just be, we're spreading it out a little bit, which would be great. Like for Torchlight 2, that's going to be great. It's going to be like 2 months worth of Torchlight 2, and there's, player versus environment in that, right? We can co-op some of that or something. So we'll have 2 months of that. This is all good. This is good stuff.
Terraria, you can spend extra time building awesome crap in Terraria.
That's another
kind of
game, very rich game and all that. So that's basically what we want to do is we want to give ourselves some more time with these games and not feel so crunched with them. And there's about 12 people that listen to this podcast, so it's fine. Like we're not disrupting.
We're not disappointing anybody.
We're not disrupting everyone's lives. No. It's all good.
So the basic schedule we will have. So April and May, I guess game of the months with an S.
I don't know. The game we're playing, the game of the time. What did I actually changed our intro.
Game of the time period, I think he said.
Game of the time period.
Game of the moment. Game of the moment.
Game of the moment. Yeah, that's not too bad.
I guess we'll just say April and May we'll be playing Terraria. So this is basically how it would go. In April, we'll have an episode about Terraria. And then in May, we'll have the save point where we're just going to riff and talk about whatever. Then we got June, Antichamber. In July, we'll be playing Antichamber. And then the same thing. We'll have the game of the month and the save point. Then we got August, September is Fallout New Vegas. October, November is Torchlight 2. Yeah. And December, January is going to be that racing game that we talked about.
The racing game, the racing game that beats every other racing game, because Ryan is an expert on racing game. And you're going to be announcing that right now. Yes, what is the racing game we're going to be playing? I got to say, like I'm a little disappointed, just a little bit, because I gave you this assignment. I want to experience the game that Ryan believes is the best racing game.
Because I'm a man of the people.
You ask everybody else, what do you guys think? I want to know what you think. I want your game. I want it from you.
But here's where I'm going to flip the script. Okay, there was a lot of good suggestions for that. And Josh, what was your suggestion again?
Trackmania, man.
He's only told you about 600 times.
I know. I'm just riffing them.
I know.
I'm just riffing them right now. So there's a lot of good games. And now that we have this new format, this is where I'm going to kind of flip the script. I'm going to pick a game, and I want you, the people, to play one of the games that you want to do, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to open up to discussion the game that I pick and then what racing game you guys picked as well. So, we're going to have an official one, but also, you guys also get to pick a racing game. Since it's going to be 2 months, we'll have time for 2 games. There'll be the official one plus your favorite PC racing game. And you can talk about it on Discord, the forums, whatever. We'll bring it up during the Game of the Month discussion, what everyone played along with our Game of the Month. How does that sound?
So I can compare my favorite game to your favorite game.
Yes.
I like this. I like how the odds are stacked in my favor. This is good.
And in your favor.
Exactly. Because
I'm not necessarily picking a game because I think it's the best game. I'm picking a game so we can discuss it. Now,
let me tell you why it's stacked in my favor, because this game that I have in my mind is already good. It's already the best. And now you have to convince me that your game is better.
I'm not convincing anyone my game is better. I am convincing you to try the game and see what it is. Now, I was split between a modern racer and a more classic one. But I better double check to make sure it's still on. I don't want to say this game and then realize that people can't purchase it. So I'm double checking just in case, because you never know. You never freaking know. Where is it? Where's the store page for it? I think it's still there. Yeah. When I was a kid, I played this game and I enjoyed it a lot. And it is a game called Screamer.
I have that game.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. So you have to buy a game. This is awesome.
Now, I was debating between Screamer 1 or Screamer 2. But since we do seem to already have this tradition of going with the first one first, although, did we do that with Fallout? No, we didn't do that with... No.
Which one's the better one? Is it Screamer 1 or 2? Because you don't really need to go in order for a racing game.
Game. That's a good question. Let's just go with Screamer 2, just because that one would probably run better anyway on people's PCs.
Screamer 2. All right.
So we're going with Screamer 2. It should be on GOG.com.
I think I have it there on GOG.
Yeah. I don't think it's on Steam, so you guys would have to purchase it on GOG.com. So that is the official game of the 2 months. And also, you guys pick one as well. Obviously, Kevin and Josh, you guys are going to have one that you're going to pick that we will talk about. And again, open up to discussion. This is a few months down the road, so this is going to take a while.
It's a good holiday time.
It's a good holiday time thing, yeah. Because what month would that be?
December and January for both.
Stories. And January, perfect. Because these are more relaxing games, not stressful. We don't have to worrying about storylines or everything like that.
Getting to an end credits or whatever. Yeah.
So there we go. So Screamer 2, GOG.com. This was a childhood favorite of mine. It was either that or Moto Racer 2. But that's also one people should check out. But yes, Screamer 2.
We did pick out a final game for the season, or do you want to save it?
Do we have a final? Did we do that?
Let's save it. We need something to talk about in the next episode, right?
Okay, because I think you did shoot one out. We're like, okay, that works.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one that we should have done already, but
true.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just save it for some mystery.
It's got to save some things. All right. I think that's it. I think we're done.
We done it. Holy crap!
It went by so fast.
It did. Well, we started earlier too, so.
This is true. Can you believe it was a year ago that we were were we discussing talking about this and how are we going to start it and all that stuff?
I saw your tweet about it, and then when I saw you in my messaging that you wanted me to be a part of this, that was really exciting. That was really cool. That was like the sweetest thing Kevin has ever done, is wanting me to be a part of this podcast.
And then it lasted an hour because then you started sweating over. now you have to perform.
Yeah, now I have to perform. I was actually, I think I was pretty nervous that first one, but now it's pretty chill.
It's all good.
It's all good. I don't know. This is fun. I will honestly admit, this is one of those things that I thoroughly look forward to in my life, is sitting down with you guys and talking like this, because it's no pressure. Well, a little bit, but no pressure, just chatting, just like good old days back when you'd sit in high school and college and just chat with your buddies about stupid shit that don't mean nothing, but it means something to you, and that's what's fun. The years flew by, and I hope we keep doing this for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy the conversation every month, and splitting up like this will give us some breathing room with the pressure part you were talking about. Like, okay, I got to finish this by this time, so that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and I think we're the only ones I think that are doing this, right? That are doing like 2 months, giving everyone 2 months to play a game. So
Yeah.
I honestly feel like thinking about it more since we talked about it originally. I'm like, this actually gets an opportunity to say, hey, you got all this time to play this game. Come on, guys, play it.
Exactly.
Play along with us. Yeah,
that's right.
So, yeah,
I think it's good. I think it's good for everybody. It'll be good times.
Awesome. Good times
All right.
and noodle salad. All right.
Yeah.
Shall we crash the computer?
I suppose. I guess. Should I say something because it's been a year? Should I congratulate you guys or something? Or say something nice about you guys or?
Yeah, it'd be nice for once in your life to actually, say something nice about us.
Well, you guys don't smell. I can't smell you over Skype, so that's nice. That's good.
I showered. Yeah.
No, it's been a lot of fun doing this with you guys. It's a good time. And I'm glad that this month we actually had a really good game to play. It was a lot of fun to play together. Because, last month we had Thief, which we didn't really dig. The month before that we kind of doing our own thing with the simulators and that. And this was the first time, it felt like in a while, that we've played a game that we all enjoyed and had a really good time. And I was actually having to hold myself back from wanting to share with you guys because I'm holding it waiting for the show, and it's good.
Yeah, there's so much to this game, man.
I don't know if we did it justice. I don't know if we did it justice. I feel like we did it a little bit, Maybe maybe we'll get some feedback. Wouldn't that be wild? We get some feedback from
Yeah,
listeners.
well, maybe
if we did
this show put out
constructive criticism. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say this show gave me probably two top five PC games of all time for me. This one and Planescape.
Yeah, those are some.
Those are so good.
Good RPG, unique and
They're so the games I would look at maybe I should play that and I'd jump in mess around with but never actually devote some time to it. So this was it's awesome.
Good times. All right. Let's crash that computer now. We said it all. We're done.
We said it all good. Thanks, guys, for a whole year. Bonk.
Okay. Somebody else said it.
Nobody was saying it.
There you did.
I was waiting. I wait for you, Ryan, to do the bonk.
Yeah.
Bonk. Bonk.
Bonk.
Bonk. Do 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 do.